What's up, guys? This is Tom Burkhardt from car-revs daily, going for a drive review in the 2018 Hyundai Sonata SEL. So this Sonata SEL is one up from the base Sonata SE, and really is an amazing value play with an enormous cabin, really generous standard equipment, and awesome pricing. So found a nice little twisty road here down in South Carolina. Let's do a little launch start again. Nice. I've got the car in sport with the electronic stability control and traction control off, so we're going to be as wild as we can get. It's the 2.4 liter standard 4-cylinder in the Sonata for 2018, making 185 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 179 foot-pounds of torque at 4,000 RPM. So standard engine, but a little bit bigger than your normal 4-cylinder, so it's got a little more pep than you might expect, and delivers 0 to 60 time of about 7.8 to 8.0 seconds, depending on the tires. This Sonata SEL as one of the ones, I mean, this is the trim that a lot of people are going to buy. Previously, we reviewed the Sport 2.0T, which is like maybe 5 to 10% of shoppers. And then the Limited 2.0T, you know, maybe 20%. And then Limited without the turbo takes a slice. But, you know, this is going to be 40 to 50% is this SEL trim level. And that's because it's just really does everything well, but it has cloth seats and no moonroof. So, big value play for this motor as well. So it does 25 miles per gallon in the city and 35 on the highway, which is really good and really extremely commendable for such a large vehicle and for any car, bar none. So the 2018 aerodynamic revisions to the Sonata have helped on those charts, even though we don't have the latest 8-speed automatic from the turbo cars. Still have a 6-speed conventional torque converter automatic for this 4-cylinder. But variable valve timing and gasoline direct injection make the most of the size of the engine and its efficiency, you know, trading efficiency and power. Also, this engine is a little bit smoother than the Sonata we had the other week on cold startups, which is good to report. There is still like a little bit of fuel pump. You can kind of hear what I think is the fuel pump at really high revs, but not a big deal at all. And then these 17-inch tires on 17-inch alloy wheels are pretty eco-focused as well. They're Kumo somethings, but they're pretty eco-focused. So they are don't have a ton of grip. But Sonata is actually sprung pretty sportily from standard. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of slop in its body control, even with these big wallowy tires. So that's nice to report. And then steering in sport mode is it gets heavier and is much nicer than many people will be expecting for any front drive car, let alone you know, a Hyundai or another midsize car. So that's all really good. So the drive, so like what's standard on this car? So basically for 2018, in addition to the facelift, standard equipment charts have gotten a lot more generous. So like all of the Sonatas, I think, don't hate me if I'm mistaken on this, but I think they all have the LED daytime running lights as well as projector headlights, not necessarily LEDs. This SEL just has projector halogen low and high beams. And then they all have standard blind spot monitoring system. That standard trunk release button hidden in the Hyundai badge. So I'm in sport and the kickdown is good. I'm at 25 miles an hour, I'm gonna floor it. So pretty good. It kicked down 2 gears right away and was pretty responsive. And that's where sport, in addition to the steering feel refinements, that's sport's kickdown and its attentiveness coming back on throttle. So let's slow down, pretend we're returning here, and then be like, no, we'll go back on throttle. So sport is really good at getting you back going ahead at maximum speed, whereas in its normal mode, it's a little bit more relaxed on its delivery. So as a result, there's a little more thinking time once you are back on the throttle sharply. So sport is nice for roads like this where you're going to be modulating your speed up and down depending on the corners and stuff, and works nicely. I mean, it really does. And it's nice to have that as standard. Again, the drive modes on all Sonatas is just pretty generous. Same for like this new interior design with the silver piano key style touch points. And then the SEL upgrades to power seat for the driver, maybe passenger, driver's seat. power seat for the driver, but with lumbar support, and that's very adjustable, as well as heated seats and proximity access outside. So you can just tap the door handle and lock or unlock the car. And proximity key, which is standard on the SEL, brings the push button start inside. So really, generally, like, pretty good for such an affordable machine. So how affordable is it? Well, really extremely affordable. I never want to say cheap, but driving here I was like, it's huge and cheap, is what I kept thinking, because it really is. So we can go into auto stick mode. It'll put us into first gear there. All right. So upshifts for us. It's for a mid-sized car, you could definitely have a little bit of fun in this Sonata, which is good. I think for hardcore, for people who really want more of a passionate driver and road and car connection and holy trinity in this mid-size segment, I think you'd be better served by going with like the Mazda 6, or if you just like really true handling feel, but a really soft ride, then the Subaru Legacy can be a good option. But this, and those would be my two recommendations generally. But this Sonata does really nicely at blending the attributes of Camry, Accord, Mazda 6, and Legacy that everybody really likes. So this car just comes out and is sort of a people pleaser from the get-go. So next thing I want to talk about is, before we get on price, which is like awesome, well, there's no sense holding it. So this Sonata SEL has a base price of $23,700, which is amazing, and then with delivery and $1,000 tech safety package, we are at 24 something. Sorry, it's right at the fold. 25,710 with destination charge is amazing value for a car this well equipped. I mean, yeah, like we said, we don't have a sunroof, and we're missing leather seats and vented seats, but I mean, this is pretty good for such a cheap machine. So 23,700 is the starting point, and then that $1,000 adds the blind spot is standard on all Sonatas, but this adds lane keep assist and active cruise. So that's the next thing I wanted to show you guys in this review is this lane keep assist is really good. It's one of the best in the industry, but no joke. So you can just have, I'm in my lane driver assist settings here in the mid cluster, and I've got a choice for lane departure, just a beep, or standard lane keep assist, or I can do active lane keep assist. So first let's do standard lane keep assist. So we'll see how that sort of works around this little curve. So okay, so I was getting close here, so it's bringing me back in. Now the curve is coming, and it's sort of freaking out. It's kind of freaking out. It doesn't know what to do, because and it even let me go over that line a teeny bit, because it lost track of the lines. The lane keep icon will be white when it's not ready, and then it goes to green when it's locked onto the lane lines. So that's standard lane keep assist, right? Everybody's familiar with that. So you're sort of like bumper pooling and bumper bowling back and forth down the lanes. So that's very normal. But we also have this active lane keep assist. Oh, this isn't where I wanted to go. I gotta turn around really quick. But we also have active lane keep assist, which actually looks up the road ahead and anticipates those turns and steers the car into it, which makes this Sonata it'll squeal the wheels a little bit, and it definitely is a little slippy in the rain, but you know, not a big deal. Standard for Camry and all those cars. So with this active lane keep assist though, it like triples the distance that it's looking ahead, and it's much more able to anticipate curves, and it actually turns you into a curve instead of just waiting for you to bounce off the edge. So the system is still getting it needs really solid lane lines on both sides. So it's still getting initialized. Okay, so now we're good. So I've got the active lane keep assist active right now, and it's not waiting until I get to either side of the lane marker to keep me in perfect form. It's doing micro adjustments throughout the entire time to keep me in the center of the lane. And then you have to have your hand on the steering wheel like every 20 seconds or so, or it'll give you this alert. Well, it's definitely not giving me the alert, but I know it does. It wants your There you go. So it wants my hands on the steering wheel, otherwise the system will disengage. But as you saw, you know, granted we're on a straight road, but it's got pitches and it's wavy. And this lane keep assist keeps us perfectly in the center in a completely hands-free way. So that's really good. And if it does lose sense of the lane lines, like when we went by that intersection right there, it gives you a little chirp. But this active lane keep assist is like I said, one of the best that I've ever tried, and is genuinely useful and helpful in driving. And then you've also got active cruise control, which is very, very nice to have. And that $1,000 tech option includes the electronic parking brake and with auto hold, which of course as I get like so late, it's like the lazy man's delight, but it's really, really nice to have once you've started using it, which auto hold just keeps you, once you come to a stop, it keeps the car there until you set off again without having to have your foot on the brake itself. So Sonata is, you know, it might not be the most exciting or passionate car in the world, but its 2018 looks are very, very premium and have a nice little sort of mini Genesis appeal. And then the cabin space and equipment available is almost beyond reproach. I mean, for these prices, it's stellar. Definitely one to consider. We'll see you guys next week. This is Tom Burkhardt from Car-Revs Daily in the 2018 Sonata SEL.